What's going on, everybody? Welcome in to another edition of the Tuesday Track Talk with your Three Stones Pit Crew, episode number 87. I am your tire changer Cam,
I'm your Jack Man Cal.
And I'm your gas man, Cam.
and we're going to talk a little bit close to home here. We had a bunch of sprint car racing up here in the state of Wisconsin this week and weekend, so we'll talk a little bit about that. We had a big dirt late model race, the Dirt Late Model Dream, so we'll cover that as well. We'll cover the Cup race for Michigan, go over a little bit of news, and then Wheelman of the Week, race picks, previews, and all that jazz. So, lot in tune, lot to cover here today. So, sit down, relax, grab yourself a nice beverage of your choosing, get ready to go. But before we do that, what's been going on, fellas, since we last reconvened?
Well,
Well, I should say I saw one of you guys about 4 hours ago.
yeah, we basically made a trip to Madison for lunch, is what it turns out to be.
Yep.
Yeah, the World of Outlaw race at Angel Park ended up getting rained out. We were already in Madison, and yeah,
Yeah. Not the first time we've had that happen.
no, I'm yet to see a national touring sprint car race. I'm currently 0 for 2 on going there and getting rained out, so I
I'm
maybe
two
should
for
just
four.
I should probably just quit.
I'm 2 for 4. So
So
coincidentally, both of them have been with you.
correct. So yeah.
Actually, I'm 2 for 5 now I think about it.
So yeah, I'm gonna potentially just give up the whole sprint car thing for a little while.
We're gonna get it. I'm telling you.
Hope so. One of these days. But Cam,
Um, I didn't put miles on it to grab lunch. Because that's twice in 1 week there. If the old tire changer goes to a race or says he's going, you might as well just scratch it off the list because he
I
comes and he
didn't go for
brings
one of them. I hadn't left yet.
as soon as the tire changer puts it out in the ether that he's going to a race, Mother Nature has got a direct magnet to wherever he is headed. So,
Good.
but no, this last week, we got a lot to talk about. Jam packed with good racing, big purses, and a whole lot of fun. So, ready to dive in.
Yeah, so let's get into it then. We'll start with some sprint car racing up here in the state of Wisconsin. Um, Talking about one of the races that I was unfortunately not able to go to, which was the 141 race, which was originally supposed to run on Tuesday, postponed to Thursday because of rain. But I did end up going to the Wednesday race at Red Cedar up in Menominee for that one as well. So, um, first off, between those two races and the World of Outlaw races that happened on Friday and Saturday, stands were packed.
the crowds were insane. The crowds were absolutely insane.
Plymouth was standing room only.
Yep. I mean, even Red Cedar, you can attest you were there.
Oh,
On a
yeah.
weeknight was just packed to the gills.
Yep. A lot of people roaming around. Backstretch grandstands were filled as well. Especially when it comes to high limit. Us Wisconsin folks were hungry for them to come up. We had the
Yep.
opportunity, so we took advantage of it.
Yeah, showed up and showed out for sure. Just again proved that we can you show up, we'll make it worth your while.
Yep.
So
Absolutely. So touching on the Red Cedar race real quick. Um, Good show. Track was pretty good as well. Got really racy there throughout the race. Uh, Larson and Abreu, I mean, those are the two guys that it really came down to. And man, did they put on a show there on that last little stretch there, sliding back and forth. Larson falling back and catching up again, and Rico just doing his thing that he's been doing as of recent.
yeah, Rico is probably one of the hottest sprint car drivers on the circuit right now. Just that car is consistently fast no matter where they go.
Mm-hmm.
So they've obviously hit on something, and he keeps saying in his interviews they just keep working on ground clearance and whatever they've hit on with that 24. It just seems to be that they've found a tick of speed, and they're proving that they're going to be a contender for a title at the end of the year.
Yep.
So
Yeah, and that was, I mean, those are two the best in the business there going at it. So worth the price of admission. And yeah, Larson, I don't know, it would have been interesting. That final lap there when he was on the bottom, got little lap car, got in the way there for what, don't know if he would have been able to make the move or complete the pass, but
He would have started a slider for sure.
yeah, he would have made the race even more epic. So
yep.
no, that was um awesome. And like you said, across the board, and not only that, but Rico in his post race at Red Cedar complimented the Wisconsin fans. And then not only that, but you had another former driver in PPM voice his opinion that he thinks Wisconsin fans can give the old PA posse a run for their money. So
Yep.
yeah, it is. It's good to hear. And like you said, that was hopefully for those touring series when you can put Wisconsin on the map and Wisconsin can deliver back to you. Hopefully it just continues to open up more doors, more opportunities for some more racing. So yeah.
Um, Moving on to the race at 141, the race I was unfortunately not able to go to. After that one, boy, was there a big storyline coming out of that. And it wasn't just in the sprint car world. You're talking about in the motorsports world as
Yep.
well. Um, we'll touch on that a little bit, but that track as well. First off, beautiful from some of the shots that they were showing and how wide that track was. They were ready to go for that one.
Yeah, just a beautiful facility on itself. It's cool. They did the pre-race interview from the bus seats, the reserved bus seats.
Yep.
Um, Pretty cool deal there, but just looks to be an immaculate facility on top of the racing surface just being awesome too. So
Yeah, so and going into that one, you had a couple of guys that had a couple of issues um in this one. Mainly, well, both of them really, Brad Sweet and Tyler Courtney. Courtney was up in the front on a restart, got tapped and got spun out. Brad Sweet ended up getting damage from I believe it was Ayrton Jeniton that spun and he slid right into him.
yep, that was up in 3 and 4. That was and at first it didn't look like a hard contact, but the more they looked at that car, that was bent the wing boards, and that top wing was hurting. They were going to try to change it. They ran out of time, and ultimately just had to run with it. But
Yep.
that was a fairly hard door-to-door contact up there in
Yep.
3 and 4. So, kind of another storyline going along with that. You talk about Bill Baylog, just again showing that whatever it is about 141,
Oh, he's
locked in.
yeah. Yep. You'd be an idiot to not put him top 5 on a
Correct.
wager or something like that.
Yep. Yeah, he showed up and he proved again that 2.1 average finish, he wasn't far off of that with a podium finish. And
Yep.
he was battling there at the end, trying to make a pass lead. He slid to third, but he's just got that place dialed in, start to finish.
Yep. Another guy that had issues, you're talking about points leaders, Justin Peck as well. So you had 3, even 4, because Abreu had to race his way in from a last chance. So you had 4 of your top 6 uh points leaders have rough um rough races out of 141.
Yeah, that's one thing you don't see very often is about 10 laps in when Rico's on the screen for the wrong reasons with the leader on his tail, battling to stay on the lead lap. And so, yeah, it's things you don't see very often, but like you said, that's the roller coaster of the sport. You can go from the highest to highs one night to the low, not the lowest of lows, but battling
You
your
get
tail
humbled.
off. Yeah, you get humbled real quick, just trying to make a show. But yeah, it was 141 was, it was obviously awesome. And like you said, we went through a little stretch there. It just felt like, the old cautions breed cautions.
Yep.
But then once we got through that, it was, yeah, that track is just awesome. It seems like it's a mile wide, guys running right around the tire tractor or tractor tires on the bottom. Baylog refused to come off of that wall.
Lived or died on the high side.
Yep.
But yeah, that track just, it widened out quick and it was racy.
Yep. Um, Brett Marks, one of the guys that was up in the points, had a really good benefited from that. He was fourth out of that one, but I think the big storyline coming out of it, Travis Aarons started P5, dropped to P7 at one point in time, and just creeped on the bottom. Hooked
It,
those those tractor tires, and
let alone the line, the dude didn't have a bad lap.
no,
He did not miss a beat. You want to talk about a career win for somebody? Uh, the dude with the likes of the high limit guys breathing down his neck didn't even bat an eye at it.
yep, first nationally touring sprint car start,
Yep.
puts on a
And I,
performance like that.
and yeah, I think this ties into, we've had this debate before too. This goes to show why we love these touring series coming to new tracks and new facilities, because again, it gives an opportunity, like somebody like this who, a guy that runs there often. All right, let's big dogs, you want to come to my backyard? Um, I'll show you how to get around this place.
Yep.
So yeah, that was that was a dodgeball like movie there, a true underdog story. Getting that win, and um yeah, it was, I have to say, I don't think that was on anybody's bingo card.
And like I said, I mean, it was not just in the sprint car world, but everybody blew
Yep.
up about that win.
Did they talk about it during the truck race? Couldn't have been.
I know they talked about it on the Dream.
Yep.
Okay, that's where it was. Sorry. I've been, yeah, was watching so much racing and stuff. I didn't know. Yeah, they did talk about it on the Dream. So uh yeah, that is, and yeah, it's just cool that, like you said, or like we've said, these touring series go to all these different tracks that, a local guy gets a chance to put his stamp on a track, and man, a huge win for him.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Um, to follow up with that, obviously he ended up winning. Went for a little dive, little swim
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
afterwards too.
Yeah. They had asked a few guys about it, if you're going to win. And Corey Day was one that outright said, yep, for sure, I'm going to do it. So it was kind of on the radar. He did his interview and kind of stood around. I'm like, oh, he's not going to do it. And then all of a sudden the camera just panned over. Yep, there he was.
Yep.
So,
It's going to use a part of that 26K to get himself a new fire suit.
yep. Yeah, for sure.
So, guy that I think I feel like we got to talk about as well, Tanner Thorson. He is just picking away at these
His
podium
time is coming.
finishes. Yep.
His time is coming. And they had talked about it. He'd strung together a couple podiums, and those were his highest point paying win or point paying finishes with the series. That group just consistently is there all the time. And one of these days, they're just going to find themselves in the right place at the right time because of the consistency. So he's one to definitely keep an eye on, that he's going to win. He's going to win a race here shortly and prove that he's another one that in the series can do it as well.
Yep.
And I think one last point on him. I think they said too, not only that, but he's got the respect of the rest of the field. And I think they said he built that sprint car from the ground up himself.
Yep.
And so yeah, and so a lot of other guys across the series say if they could handpick a crew chief, they would pick him. So yeah, like you said, the consistency, and he knows that thing inside and out. So like you said, I think Freddie Kraft said on one of his podcasts, if you just keep running consistently and doing the right things, a win will just find you. and I think he's doing that. Just running up front, putting together good finishes, and he'll just continue that. And one of these times, a win is going to find him.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah, I got a ton of respect from everybody in the pits. I'd be remiss if I didn't talk about the couple of other races that did happen in the World of Outlaws. First over to Plymouth. Well, really both Plymouth and Beaver Dam. The high limit guys kind of invaded the shows a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah, they did. Rico won Plymouth.
Yep. And then Sweet stole one from, I believe, Macedo. I didn't get
Yep.
to watch it, but I believe he stole it from Macedo last night, Saturday night.
Yeah, that was at Beaver Dam, right?
Yep.
Yep.
So, yeah, so Ebro won on Friday night, beat Cole Floyd, Tyler Courtney, obviously a high limit guy. Macedo and then Sweet was in the top 5 of that one.
Yep.
And then looking at Beaver Dam, Sweet won that one. Anthony Macri was second, a high limit guy, and then Sheldon Hondenshield third. So you had 2 of the top 3 of that one be high limit guys as well.
Yep. For sure.
Speaking of Tanner Thorson, he had a couple top 10s then with the Outlaws as well. So,
Yep. He'll find his way there.
oh yeah, for sure. So, no, again, it's just sprint car racing in Wisconsin. I think it put a lot of tracks and it put the fan base on the map, just as how passionate the fans are. Um, Obviously, the World Outlaws still have one more stop up here. They race at Cedar Lake yet, and then they got the rescheduled Angel Park race, I believe.
Yes. Yep. So they're coming back.
Yep. Oh, Wilmot. Forgot about Wilmot as well.
Yep.
So, couple races yet in Wisconsin, at least for the Outlaws. High limits are done. But I think after that one, I think they'd be fools to not come back in some way, shape, or form.
Absolutely.
So,
I
look
don't
forward.
think it. I don't think it put Wisconsin on the map. I think it just confirmed that it needs to be a staple.
Yep.
Yeah, I think we've always been on the map. We Cedar Lake and some of those tracks, Beaver Dam, Plymouth, um, Wilmot, they've come to them. But I think now as you start seeing high limit get involved, and yeah, I mean this was a sprint car person's dream in Wisconsin, 5 straight days if it would have went sprint car racing. So
Yep.
we've always been on the map, but this I think was as one could say, standout performance from the fans.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Absolutely. So, any final thoughts here about sprint car racing in the old state of Wisconsin, the Badger State?
Glad to have them come back.
Oh, yeah. Can't wait. So, all right, let's shift gears here. Let's stick on the dirt, but we'll switch the type of car. We'll talk about the dirt late model dream. I know you guys were really tuned in for this one. You've been tuned in all week and know what was going on there. I was able to tune in a little bit while I was at the Dells on Saturday night.
Yep.
But kind of same verse, different story,
Yeah. So here's kind of how I think
or
about
same
this.
story,
There's
different verse.
certain people have kind of seen some stuff on Twitter about how, yeah, it wasn't that great of a race. It just Davenport stunk up the show. But to have 90 some cars checked in and to be able to string together a prelim night win and start 13th and go ahead and win that feature, like the dude's just got the place figured out.
Yep.
Like that's the thing about it is he didn't have tire issues. He didn't have mechanical gremlins. Like they were just dialed into the nines and making sure that that program was ready to do what they set out to do. And that was cash the big check.
I think the other thing you got to think about too is the prelim nights as well, between the heat races and the feature races of those ones. I mean, you
Yep.
got a ton of stuff happening in those as well.
Yeah. And even like their Castrol night, I believe it was, they went to a backup car. They had motor issues. Like
Yep.
they still ran that race, but ultimately when it came down to running the dream, Davenport said, no one but me.
Dude, not only that, but there's a lot of rumblings on the old X machine too about inverts and um
Marler's been very vocal about that.
Not even having a 1 or a 2 on there. I guess what were your thoughts on the whole invert situation?
Um, See, but the thing is that with Luke, and you guys might be able to help me with Luke Soil, but I know World Outlaws, they don't do an invert for their heat races.
I
I
don't
don't
think Lucas
believe
does it
Lucas
either.
does either.
No.
I don't know. I mean, it's a standalone event. Like his thing was, is he had mentioned like you can't punish the guys that work hard, but everyone that's there is working hard.
Absolutely. Yep.
Like, let's not
Everybody
hide.
knew going into it that there was going to be an invert.
You had everyone knew going in. You had inverts, and the thing about it is everyone showed up with their best iron. Chassis companies love knowing that the dream is coming because they're going to build a whole shitload of brand new race cars. Like,
Yeah.
it's no secret that you're going to bring out your biggest, baddest piece. You got brand new motors, brand new chassis, deck to the nines. You're going to have that thing locked out top to bottom. So, like,
You
to
had
me, it's no
2 weeks
secret.
to prepare
And
for it as well.
yeah, you had guys taking weeks off to get ready for it. Like, the thing about it is when you signed up and put your name on that list, you knew what you were signing up for.
Yep.
Like, like that's the thing about it is like I don't mind it. I because at the end of the day, with the every lap matters format, you can get points if you're dialed in. You can get points that accumulate towards the dream on Saturday night, right? Like, yeah, I get it. You can have a bad night, but in the same sense, like you know what you're signing up for, guy. I,
Now let's
I
just
don't know. I enjoyed it. I think leave it alone, but
now what's to say that what happened of when you get to the dream, Davenport starts on the front, you know, because of this, that, and the other, and how the format is. Let's just say he starts on the front. Are we gonna have more of a pissy fit about him leading or winning as much as he did? Versus
maybe.
this one where it took him till given it was about halfway, but he had to work his way through. And he had moments where he had to get around wrecks or have to,
Yep.
fight guys for positions, take care of the equipment.
Yeah, I don't know. You know what you signed up for. That's the hard part. Like,
And also not to bash on Marler or any, but as far as I know, he was the only one that really said anything.
correct. He's the one that's been outwardly vocal about it. Um, the
Yeah, I
thing about
guess
that,
if
even if you say, yeah, you put Davenport on the front row and let him run away with it for, say, he leads 90 to 100 laps, no one would be shocked. Everyone's just going to go, well, okay, he started on the front row. Okay, fine. Look at his track record at the damn place.
Yep.
He's got a target on his back. People already looking at it going, what do we got to do to beat him at the world?
Yep.
And that's just simply a matter of he's just that good there. And that car that they have for just Eldora for the most part is just that damn good. Everyone else has got to figure something out.
so. Not only that, I don't know if you watched the pre-race or post-race interview. They kind of had like a press conference with Bobby Pierce, JD, and Nick Hoffman, and just kind of like a little press conferencing. And they asked Bobby Pierce, you're running up top, and you know, you JD goes by you and you see his line on the bottom and you're tearing the boards down. Was there a thought that you could or you should go down there and follow him on the bottom? And I thought this was the most I don't know. It was a wild response. He said, it's not that I didn't think about going down there and following him. It's that nobody in the field can run the bottom like he can.
Yeah.
And he's like, a lot of us see him down there and know that's where he is, but none of us can do it. And so he's like, that leaves us with one option. And he's like, somebody had to go first on the top side. And so he's like, I just went up there and started, somebody's got to do it. And then that led to his tire problem, which
Yep.
he ultimately cut a tire down. So he had to come back in and puts a new fresh right rear on it, and he goes right back out there. And what does he do? Same damn thing. So I don't know. Like you said, it whatever happens, whatever they want to do, inverts now, no inverts, all roads lead to the same ending. And that same ending is if you're going to win at Eldora, you've got to figure something out to beat the 49. And yeah, like you said, I mean, he started 13th, and for a while there, like he said, he was kind of just stuck. Didn't feel like he could go anywhere. And then we had little caution breed caution, and then he said on one of the restarts, he's like, everybody was ripping up the top, and he's like, I'm just gonna go down on the bottom. And he's like, I went down there, got past the few, and he's like, just stay down there. So I don't know. I thought it was a wild response from Bobby Pierce to say it's not that we know he's down there and think we should go down there. It's nobody else can run the bottom.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
so yeah, I don't know. It's like you said, everybody knows what they're signed up for. Everybody's bringing the best of the best. And um, if you don't like the format, well,
Don't show up.
save yourself some money and don't show up
Yeah.
because that show's going to go on without you. But
There's 92 other cars in that pit's going, well, that's one more car we don't have to worry about.
for real.
Yeah. I don't know. I
but-
just the spectacle of the event, I love it from an intrigue standpoint. It just adds another element to it. Now I get it to a certain degree, tracks can lock down and they can get one lane, but it really never did that. It always widened out and it was always racy. You just had to know, could you get the job done?
Yep.
You know? I
Dude,
think
and I feel
part of what I think is maybe Marler is a little bit struggling with his expectations right now. You know, he's not somebody right now that I'd be sitting here going, he's only got one win. I'd be looking at him going 3 or 4 or 5, you know, somewhere along the line, just clips a couple off because he's proven he can do that. So, you know, maybe it's part of there's a little frustration with where they're at, and that's kind of boiled over to being on the wrong end of an invert, unfortunately. But other guys found ways to work with it too. So,
yeah, and yeah, like you said, everybody knows when they go when you submit your registration for that, you know exactly what you're signing up for. And if you don't like inverts and you're going to complain about it, well, save yourself some money and don't submit an entry. But yeah, I know, or not only that, but getting into the race a little bit there, kind of a wild field we had of
dude,
starters. And it didn't take long, and we had drama. We didn't even get one lap in, and we had a caution. Chris Madden cuts a tire. He ultimately was able to continue, but he had contact with Spencer Hughes and
Yep.
the old JCM Motorsports. First dream for him, and his dream was over, and not even one completed lap. So tough break for him and that team.
yeah. Yeah, I mean, ultimately, again, the track prep crew did what they needed to do to make that thing as versatile as possible. It very could have easily been with that Thursday night issues with the rain. Like, very could have easily have messed up what they were going to do with that track. But at the end of the day, like, your guys that were going to be on the top just killing the boards were doing it. And JD just sniffed out the bottom and did JD type stuff. Like, the dude led over half the race. In a couple restarts, guys had shots at him. It wasn't like he led the last 50 and yeah, he won by 10 seconds and he didn't realize it. But at the end of the day, there were a few restarts in the middle where Pierce had a shot at it late in the race to try to beat him.
Yep.
So it wasn't like it went 55 green and he just like moseyed around. Like, there were chances for guys to take a shot at him, to see if they could dirty the air in front of him.
Yeah, I guess what's getting into the next kind of topic there is the whole tire thing. Tires were a problem for felt like a lot of guys. But I don't know what I'm assuming this just comes with time and experiences, his ability to Davenport. I don't know what he's doing with them tires. But I felt like he was the only one that he obviously wasn't, but I felt like he was the only one that um didn't have tire problems. And
Yeah.
just goes to, we always talk about it in like NASCAR, tire fall off and tires wearing and Buddy put a beating on the field, and those 4 tires he started with were same 4 on it at the end. But yeah, who else had problems, tire problems? Bobby
Bobby
went to the back.
Hoffman changed to one early, either changed when it came in. They were doing some work on the decking on that car at one point. I was like right away. Turbo changed a tire. Obviously, Madden had issues right away in that wreck, but there was numerous guys that had tire issues.
Didn't Owens cut a tire?
Yep, Owens
Oh
had a
yeah.
tire down.
Jason Jameson, he cut one coming off of 4.
Yep.
But yeah, and I don't know. I feel like the writing's on the wall for everybody.
Oh, it has
Hey,
been for 3 years now.
Yep.
tires are a problem. Hey, what am I doing? Well, I ran the top for 100 straight laps. Okay, well let's maybe look at that. Topic number 2, the race winner. Where did he run? Well, he ran the entire race on the bottom, not the entire race on the bottom, but the
Mid to
majority,
bottom.
and then through the middle. Jeez, well, maybe next year we should try. Maybe next year we should, or later this year we should try running the bottom. We can save our tires and we can follow the fastest guy around Eldora.
Learn something from them.
Yeah.
Yeah. But to that one point though, too, kind of like you said, jumping back a little bit, is guys had a shot at him, and it was one of those restarts. This just goes to that beauty of a car that Davenport has for Eldora. Somebody got to his inside, and I felt like he was on the outside there, and he's like, "Oh, you want to get on the inside of me? I'll just throttle her up, and I'll go right around you on the outside." Like, I hate to say it, but like, he's not as good on running the top, but I think he just had the car that it all roads, it didn't matter what happened, all roads were going to lead to the same result.
Yep. It's been that way for a handful of years now with that car. You got to remember, it's no secret that's a 2021 chassis in terms of dirt late model racing. That thing's kind of a relic. Like, you got guys rolling out chassis that are brand new from 2 weeks ago that they just built. Like, there's just something about that car that when you go there, you know that his call it throwback scheme showed up. And you knew that thing was going to be lights out.
Yeah.
So I don't know. The other thing about the Dream is I just love how much of a spectacle they make it, right? In terms of the broadcast and all of the number of cars being there and giving guys the publicity of even the smaller guys. Look at somebody like Josh Rice that won that prelim night. Like, that was a career night for him to have that. Like, they've been chasing that forever, and the struggles that they've had at the Dream in the world in the last handful of years, like, just to see the raw emotion in those guys winning a prelim night is such a big deal.
And this one didn't win his prelim, but Timothy Culp, another guy that just
A career defining weekend.
Yep, 100%.
It's another one. You don't have that on your bingo card, but we talked about in our preview. There was going to be a secret or a Cinderella story in terms of making that race.
Yep.
It was him, hands
Yep.
down. So
I'm going to touch on a couple guys that either A, just stormed through the field and had good finishes, or started up front that you wouldn't expected to stay up front. I think two of them that you kind of started up front, didn't expect them to stay up front, Dale McDowell and Tim McCready.
Timmy's been fast lately.
He has.
They're
And
finding something in that 9 car.
yep, and he's proven that, especially with this one now in the Dream, that hey, I'm here to race, fellas.
Yep.
And I know McDowell
Yeah.
was up there for a little bit, leading some laps, and
Yeah,
Yep.
McDowell led the first, I think, 30, give or take, um, before JD grabbed it. But yeah, those two, I think that might be a little bit of the old savvy vet in both of those two guys. They've got a lot of laps under their belt. They've seen a lot of racing. They've seen a lot of setups that an event like this, I don't think you can ever count somebody out like that.
Nope.
And you can scroll down a little bit and you can see the results like Jimmy Owens. You can see some of these guys, a Shane Clanton, some of these older experienced guys. Um, as fun as it is to talk about the young up and comers and the Bobby Pierces and the Ricky Thorntons and the JDs, some of these guys, these Xavier bets, they're can never count them out.
yep.
Yep.
On the other side of that, guys that started deeper mid pack of the field and worked their way up. Devin Moran, 24-5, and Nick Hoffman, 20-9.
Yep.
Hoffman
Putting
went
on good
20.
efforts.
Hoffman went
20
oh,
to
are you
3.
20?
Sorry, 20-3. I saw the way this lineup here. It's position 3, card number 9.
Yeah. I was like, wait a second. Yeah, I mean, talk about a good weekend for him.
Oh yeah.
Just to find yourself in the mix, right? Like we've been talking about him, and he's fairly new to the dirt late model scene, right? This is what his
Third year.
third full season, right? Like he's starting to have these moments to show that at some point he's going to break through and be a guy that you can't count out when you go somewhere and go, the 9's going to be fast. And he's showing flashes of that. But to have that for him, I mean, yeah, you finished third, but you got to believe that he's happy to finish third there at that, especially at that event going,
Yeah.
look at the field of cars that was here. So, good. Yeah. Good to see him have a good weekend. I was happy for him.
Yeah, and just a quick note on him too. I think he's another one. His time is coming before he's won his share of races, but his time is going to come where he's going to start getting, like you said, he's going to continue to figure this thing out and he'll start clicking them off. But his post race interview was just classic Nick Hoffman. Because he smashed up the spoiler early.
Yeah.
He had to come in and like he said, he's like, I show up to these events like this knowing I've got the equipment to win these races. And he's like, I literally told myself, don't rip up the spoiler. And he's like, within 10 laps, he's like, I did that to myself. And he's like, called himself an effing idiot on the interview. So, but yeah. And then he comes down pit road. And as the announcers said, they got out a BFH,
Yeah.
big freaking hammer to get that spoiler right again. And he goes to the back and then he does what he does and drives her right to the front. So
He loves taking Tony's money.
Yes.
um yeah, Hoffman was it's I know our tire changers tickled pink when he runs well, but he is, I like him.
It's
And
growing
I
on you
think
guys a little bit, I think.
well, I
Yep.
think he too is like he for the sport too, he's not a robot.
Yep.
Like when they interviewed him and he's like his first line was like, I literally told myself, just keep the spoiler on it. And he's like, I was a fucking idiot and tore it off within 10 laps. And so he's just he's a fun guy to have in the sport. He calls an ace and says whatever's on his mind. So
Yep.
and always a sharp paint scheme. So yeah,
Yep.
solid run for him.
Yeah, for sure.
Touching on the top 10 here real quick. So obviously Jonathan Davenport wins the 31st edition of the Dream. Bobby Pierce was second Nick Hoffman third, Tim McCready fourth, Devin Moran fifth, Dale McDowell sixth, Max Blair seventh, RTJ Ricky Thornton Jr. eighth, Josh Rice ninth, capping off a fantastic weekend for him, and then Brandon Shepard rounded out top 10.
Yep.
And I think just last point on this too, just wild. I don't think you ever, we're talking about things we don't typically see at a racetrack. Jonathan Davenport with a 10-second lead, working to lap Ricky Thornton Jr.
And Brandon Shepard at one point.
And Brandon Shepard and Ricky Thornton Jr. finished 8th place.
Yep.
And
almost half track.
Yeah, he had half a track. And the wild thing is they try to take all the tricks away from Davenport to try to even the field out. They took away the stick guys. They took away the video board. They're trying to take everything away to even the field out to give him a shot against Davenport. And Davenport said, he's like, I had no idea how big the lead was. He's like, I just kept, you saw it. He was hammered down. He was not given an inch on those lap cars. So,
No.
At one point we were talking group chat. We're like, dude, you got a 10-second lead. Like, chill out on these lap cars. Like, just ride a little bit.
But yeah, he had no idea.
Have no fear. Yep.
And he was 100 pounds heavy at the scale.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, he threw his kahunas over his shoulder about 40 laps into that and said, I got this. Don't worry about it, boys.
Yep. So, no, another great addition of the Dream. Glad I was able to watch at the racetrack as well, in between feature races. So, any final thoughts here before we move on, fellas?
Leave the format alone. Keep making this event as big as it is. Let's keep promoting it. Let's keep getting money into it so that it keeps these large cars of field coming back, or field of cars. I just love how much of a spectacle it is. Yep. It's Dream Week. Like, it's just awesome.
Yeah. Awesome event. Love the flow race night in America, the Wednesday kind of teaser. And then not only that, I think too, we could shout out the Eldora crew because they were battling Mon Nature all weekend. And kudos to them for the way they handled it. Getting the Thursday night feature, running double features on Friday when the weather was on the way on Friday night as well. And then not only that, but Saturday for the big show, moving it up an hour and getting the show in. So yeah, it's a huge event. It's awesome. And like we said,
are we going next year?
I did punch it in the old Google Maps there, just an 8.5 hour drive. So
from you or from me? I think it's shorter for me.
Yeah, from central Wisconsin, it was like 8.5 hours. So
campsites are fairly reasonable.
Dude, that's nothing. Each of us take 2.5 hours. Easy work.
I did 5 hours today.
Yeah, 8 to 5.
Last point on the Dream too, or not. Well, I guess yeah. One, you're going to have to beat Davenport to win at Eldora. That's just.
Yep.
That's the price of admission. If you want to get a win there, you just know you're going to have to go through him. And then two, like Davenport, maybe this is a sign that old paint scheme that's like that white, blue, and little orange. Maybe like just go back to that. Like it's simple, it's clean, it's a staple. Like that's him out there. And I don't mind his new black scheme, but hey, maybe just go back to the old ways and go back to the old paint scheme. But no, it's an awesome event. I love it. And going back there, 2 more times this year? Once for the World and then one for the Dirt Track World Championship.
Yep.
So yeah, that place is awesome.
So all right, let's move on to the Cup race at Michigan. And a little insight here. Got this column here for Cup race at Michigan. We got no notes. So we're shooting from the hip on this one.
Yeah, well, I only got to see it last 40 laps. You didn't get to see any of it, did you?
I got to listen to it.
Right, but you didn't get to see any of it.
Nope.
Yeah, I'll jump in. I got to watch a share of it. Um, dude, I like this Michigan 2 mile high speed. It was a racy track. Um,
Well, and I saw it on the restarts for the little bit of the start of the race that we saw. You had multiple grooves going for that track as well, and at least listening to it for the rest of the way, especially when you got to the end of the race, it definitely seemed like those grooves were still there. Bottom was obviously dominant, but you still had grooves to work with.
Yep.
yeah, there was 3 lanes that you could run, and it was just awesome. It was big runs coming down the front stretch, and then it was the 2 guys side draft, and then guys going taking it 3 wide and almost running, dirt slide jobs. Entering low, clearing them, um, getting up in front of them, and it was yeah, it was a fun race. Racing wise, the whole conversation again. Here we go. The old fuel burn bar. When that's a focus, that's depending on how you feel about fuel saving in NASCAR.
Yep.
Could trigger some emotions. What was going on there towards the end of the race? um,
The thing about Michigan, it's almost a guarantee. Death, taxes, and a fuel mileage race at Michigan.
Right. But again, it goes back to strategy and your fueler. Are we gonna get enough in it to make it to the end? Denny had half a lap. Like he had enough to do his burnout and then he was out.
Well, and the other thing too, and they mentioned this on the radio broadcast, are you willing to sit an extra 2 or 3 seconds to make sure that that fuel is packed?
and earlier in the race, Denny didn't. Um, and thank God his pit crew was paying attention because his crew chief said, I'll tell you when you can go. And it dropped off the jack and he hammered down and gas can still in the car. And
Yeah.
luckily the front tire changer was standing there and
Yep.
prevented the gas can from leaving the box. So yeah, it's hard to do. Because those extra 2 seconds feel like an eternity for a little extra splash of fuel. But
The other part about this, and I think probably Alex Bowman can attest to this. The thing about that place is when you wreck hard.
Oh man,
I mean, he
that
hit
was
the
a
safer barrier
shot.
and it lifted the car off the ground. And thank God he crawled out of that thing because that was a hit and a half,
Yep.
nosed into the wall at 90 degrees. Like,
That went from straight to right to into the wall.
yep. Yeah, that was a tough wreck. Someone else that again, he's just gonna find himself in victory lane at some point. Carson Hocevar.
Yep.
pain,
He's got
painful
fast.
as it is to say,
Yep. He's got fast cars, and obviously the flat kind of derailed his day. And obviously the Coke 600, the motor thing, they're proving that 77 car is fast.
Yes.
So he was going to be in there to mix it up and finish in the top 5 had you not had that tire issue. So that
dude.
group is figuring it out in a hurry.
And I don't know. This feels like a common trend that we're seeing here is who's gonna who we see in the top 10, but just another mixed bag. Um,
Get all 3 RFK cars in the top 10.
yep.
Oh yeah.
And then not only that, but you had didn't know he was still in the Cup Series, but he was on there today. Ty Gibbs, he was up front. Um,
Yep.
he gets his got to be uh, career best or close to career
One
best
of his
finish.
better races.
Yeah.
He took that 33 and took the second 3 off of there this week.
For for real. Um, not only that, but then you scroll on, he was making moves too. Another guy that is he's continuing to show more and more flashes, Zane Smith,
Yep.
in that front row team. He brings it home 7th.
He's
And
easily becoming the front guy for that team.
Yep.
No pun intended, but
Yeah.
Yeah.
His two teammates were both involved in an incident. Gillen blew a tire, smashed his car, and Gregson, who feels like he's talked about every week for the wrong reasons, involved in an incident as well. Um, yeah, it I just feel like he's putting in like workman like performances when he does this. Not flashy, not leading laps, but you can see him in that 5 to 15 range, which is solid for him, in my opinion.
oh yeah.
Yep.
Two other guys that I want to kind of mention that if they have better starting positions, who knows what kind of races that they can pull off. Ross Chastain, who finished sixth, started 20th, and Ryan Preece, the aforementioned, started 23rd, finished ninth. You know, who's to say if them two guys, not just at Michigan, but on a weekly basis, if they start up front, the type of races that they could put together. Preece is by far probably put together a career year right now.
Oh, of course. And I think even on top of that, right, like even just talk about that, the other part of it comes to is starting closer to the front, it changes how you play out your strategy too.
Yep.
When you're not trying to gain track position on your strategy wise, you can be the shot caller that brings the field down to pit road to put fuel or tires on. Now, tires weren't as big of a deal today, but when you're the guy that can draw the field down or you're calling those shots, it also changes your strategy to we're going to make everyone else make a move instead of having to make the move to get the track position.
Yep. I think a prime example of that Josh Berry given fell off a little bit, but started seventh, finished 12th, was running top 10 pretty much the entire race.
Yep.
It's a prime example there. Another guy, solid run today. Bubba Wallace, two consecutive top 10s coming off of three DNFs. A little bit of a confidence booster for him.
Yep. And 2311's got fast cars.
Yep.
It's just they got to string it all together. But you got to be there at the end to finish to be able to have a shot at it. So,
Not only that, but hey, found himself in the top 10 for once. Kyle Busch puts together I guess we could say a full weekend. Maybe the
Almost was it
first.
because he hit the wall there earlier in the race.
True. But ultimately qualifies that bad boy up front. Qualifies second, and then he was sitting there like, I don't know, I think fifth, sixth there towards the end, and they were talking on the broadcast like, hey, this could be somebody.
he was the
As
ones to
guys,
watch.
yeah. But that's somebody who, again, he's got to start putting together weekends like this.
Yep. For sure.
This seems like to be a theme for William Byron here these past couple years. Win the Daytona 500, dominate races here and there at that throughout the year,
Yep.
but don't win them.
Yep. The Coke 600 was a prime example of that.
This is another one here too, given there was also that fuel deal. But when you lead 98, you led almost half of the laps
Yep.
and you fall short. And even then, he got passed by Hamlin to boot before he ran out of gas.
Yep. Yeah, for sure. That's
A little bit of a stinger there.
yeah, for sure.
So, covering the top 10 here real quick. Denny Hamlin, obviously your winner of this one. Third win on the year for him. Chris Buescher second. Ty Gibbs third. Bubba Wallace fourth. Kyle Larson fifth. Ross Chastain sixth. Zane Smith seventh. Kyle Busch eighth. Ryan Preece ninth. And Brad Keselowski 10th to run the field out of this one.
Yeah. So that kind of can we just talk briefly, really quick on this trip to Mexico City?
Yes. So first off, I'm sure as we speak, all the teams are in the process of switching everything over into haulers and getting stuff figured out as they get ready for their trip to Mexico. So setting you up for that. Go.
There's a lot going into this. I just hope it produces. You have haulers covering up decals of alcohol, covering up tobacco sponsorships. If If it's a casino that sponsors you, they have to be licensed in Mexico. So you got RCR rolling down there in all black haulers because they're having to cover up sponsorship deals to be able to go do this. On top of the fact, and we talked about this today when we were together, can we not have lined this up with the Texas race? Could we not have lined this up with the Phoenix race? They got a 1 day, 10 hours worth of driving if you drive straight through. Yes, obviously these guys have a lot of different drivers that they can utilize to be able to do things like this. But we talk about the cost of being in racing, but then we go from Michigan to Mexico.
Yep.
Let's just start there logistically. Like, can we not do a Texas? Can we not get us in the ballpark? Can we not do a Phoenix or a Vegas? Like, I understand also stretches, but we're at least in the neighborhood to a certain degree, right?
Like Kansas would even work.
Kansas. At that point, do it the week after Charlotte when you're in your backyard. When your shop is 2 miles from the track that you can load up your car from the week quick, run back to the shop, have everything prepped, everyone loads, hauler takes off.
Yep.
It just, I feel like logistically, the more we look into what this is going to be, I just really, really hope it produces for what's going to go into making this happen.
And then not to mention two things that I heard on the radio and I brought up to you guys in the group chat. One, they've got Border Patrol agents at the track that are inspecting those haulers, probably as we speak, honestly. And then once that's done and cleared, the trucks are sealed from there. And two, all the teams are riding down together. So they're all going to get there at the same time.
Yep.
From what I read there, once they get to the border, they're going to caravan across Mexico together with security.
Yep. So, yeah, I don't know. I just logistically, as I'm like, look at some of this, I just really, really hope it produces. Now, do I understand as a sport, do we need to take a chance like this to do something? For sure. And we had talked about this. Maybe you go Michigan to Canada.
Yep. You're literally right there.
You're a stone throw from going up that way. You know, yeah, I don't know. I hope for the sake of the sport that this does work out and it produces and everything goes well because yes, I understand we need to take chances, but to a certain degree, like the talk of the garage this morning and right now isn't about the Michigan race. It's about, okay, now we are in scramble mode to get these haulers down to the border.
That's what the talk was this morning. They opened the garage early just to be able to start the transition process.
So it kind of takes away from what was a good race today, too.
Yep.
And after the race, what's the first thing they asked AJ Allmendinger? How's your Spanish? I took 3 years of high school. It's terrible. What do you want me to say? Like, let's not take away from another event that was a decent enough race in Michigan that all of a sudden it's like pre-Michigan, it's Mexico. The checkered flag flies. All right, load your shit up. We got to go.
And I saw a comment from Tommy Joe Martin. Obviously, the Xfinity Series is also going down there. He said that he was thankful for having a week off because his team, obviously a smaller team, was able to prepare a lot easier for that trip.
Yep. Yeah, so that's just my hope is that this produces and goes well. I could see this very well being a one and done type deal.
I think obviously, and who's to say, like this could be the determining factor as far as setting the rest of the schedule for next year.
Yep.
Look, I'll just, yeah, nothing I'm going to say is going to change your guys' opinion. And like you said, let's hope and pray everything goes smoothly. We haven't even talked about, hopefully, God willing, everybody's passports, this, that, and the other thing. Hopefully everything goes smoothly. And I'm not going to say hopefully it's one and done because it might turn out to be a fantastic event and it might turn out to be fantastic for our sport. But by golly, this just seems like piss poor planning across the board. And like, it just feels like everybody's uneasy. It's like, what is going to come up or what's going to go wrong?
Just a massive headache.
Yeah, for real. And I hope and pray that it goes well and it's great for the sport. But at the end of the year, when anybody can give feedback, I hope to God every team submits feedback and says, if we're doing this Mexico thing again, figure your shit out. But we're not doing a 34-hour drive to make this happen.
Yeah.
And we've
Yep.
got to do it leaving from the furthest point. And it just, yeah, it feels last minute. It feels like a hassle. Like it's just so much extra work. And it's, if you're going to do this, like,
Or even just give them a week off beforehand.
yeah, we're rewrapping haulers where it just,
Yeah.
Is the fruit going to be worth the, or juice going to be worth the squeeze?
That's why I hope it goes well.
Yep.
yeah.
So
All right. Any other final thoughts here, fellas, before we touch on a little bit of news?
no.
No, let's hope this goes well.
Yep. All right. So we've only got a few topics, news here's wise, and again, we forgot to split this up. So how do we want to tackle this here? Say, I can take the first two.
Okay.
We'll go from there.
I'll
So,
take, I'll take the last one. Cal, you can
Okay.
take the
Yep.
middle too.
Yep. Perfect.
okay. Some track news. There was rumors about this, or something popped up on the old X machine here earlier in the weekend. It got confirmed. Atlanta Motor Speedway has been renamed to Echo Park Speedway after the car dealership company. So it's now the Echo Park Speedway. Fun fact: Marcus Smith, who is obviously the Speedway Motorsports owner and president, also owns the Echo Park dealerships. So
Yep. I'm very simply just going to say it will forever be Atlanta.
yes, 100%. Um, Next one up here, touching on some cars tour racing, stemming from a couple weekends ago. Connor Jones has been placed on probation for the rest of the season and fined $500 after a post-race fight on the cars tour raced. Not his first time.
Yep.
Should throw that out there.
Unfortunately. Yep.
So
Dude's going to move up in the ranks across the sport. He's got to figure that out. No team wants to be dealing with that.
obviously we saw what happened in the truck race last year.
Yep. When he got parked.
Yep.
Yep. Speaking of the Cup Series, Connor Zilic, they've gone ahead and announced he will race two more races for Trackhouse, in particular, the aforementioned Echo Park Speedway, or if you're for like me, it's Atlanta, and Watkins Glen. And obviously, Red Bull being a high sponsor of him will fund both of those efforts. So, more seat time for Zilic, which I have to believe is alluding to what could be coming for a potential open seat at Trackhouse. And we can't go too long without talking about the Cup Series. The U.S. Court of Appeals rules in favor of NASCAR. So, what does that mean? That voids the injunction that allowed 23 and 11 and Front Row to race as chartered teams.
Of note, this is just that injunction. This is not the lawsuit as a whole.
Correct. So, what this has come down to is come the end of June, I believe the date I saw was June 26th. That will then force 2311 and Front Row to race as open teams.
Yep.
So charter money gone. Obviously, you would assume that these two teams would get together and try to file a block or some type of countersuit to this situation. But when you talk about money, those two teams right now are looking at this going, uh-oh.
But now with this as well, you know how you have, in all reality, you have 6 open charters now that are for the picking.
Yep. It also releases drivers that they can sign with other organizations because they're not chartered teams. Now, do I see a lot of movement there? No.
No.
But
this could still get messy.
this is the furthest thing from over with this entire situation.
This was a big deal.
And the drivers have alluded to it. They are nervous about this.
Oh, yeah. And ultimately, you're worried about getting paid too. both as a driver, as a team, and paying your shop crew.
Absolutely.
That's multi-million dollars that you're not getting.
Yep.
Stay tuned. That'll be in the news section probably next week or the following week.
Probably.
And then lastly from the news here, this is some fun stuff. Ram announces they'll be joining the Craftsman Truck Series in 2026. Future plans in the Cup Series at some point. So, again, sweet stuff. Dodge coming back to the sport. That is awesome. And then not only that, but I did see, sent it to you guys too, rumors there's supposedly Honda is looking at getting into NASCAR is rumored. Since we love stirring the pot and rumors on this podcast, we'll just throw that out there. And then I'm sure they're chomping at the bit to get into the sport when we go EV. So, yeah.
Top. I'll quit when we. I'm done.
Touching on the
Anyway.
Ram, the Dodge and Trucks series deal. From what we shared, it was 4 to 6 trucks, hopefully in the Daytona race next year.
Yep.
So it might be just hey, we're just gonna run, get our feet wet type of scenario. They may end up just having a team switch over to them as well.
Yep.
If they're running
And
4 to 6, it's probably going to be a smaller team.
Yep.
One that kind of comes to mind for me, and I'll let you guys pick this apart as you see McNally Racing.
Yep. The other kind of rumor that I had seen is that GMS was going to be building their chassis. So, an organization that has truck ties previously, right? No longer in the truck series, but what I had heard is potentially having GMS do their chassis work for them, which they are still building chassis, just not on the racing side of things in terms of on track. So,
Yep.
yeah.
Exciting either way.
Yeah. There's going to be a big change.
Yep.
There's going to be a surprise flip, or there's going to be some surprise drivers. And Cletus McFarland put it out there that it's not him. Just, Michael Waltrip wanted to try to break that news early, but no, it's not him.
Threw that live on the truck race on the broadcast. Come on, Mikey.
Let's run a couple of good ARCA races here first.
Yeah. Yeah, no kidding. But
And got somebody yelling from the top what they yell at us. Find better sources.
Yeah, I'll take credit for that one.
Yep.
All right. Let's move into our Wheelman of the Week. We got 4 of them here, but I feel like I know what the winner is going to be, but I feel like I know what the top 2 are going to be on this as well.
Yep.
First one, Carson Osevar wins his 3rd Money in the Bank at Berlin in dominating fashion.
Yep. Matt Craig wins back-to-back ASA Southern Super Series races at Montgomery. So he goes back-to-back in that event in the Southern Super Series.
I'll take this next one because I'm going to leave Cam with the.
Yeah. The name is wrong too, by the way.
All right. Well, I will take
Travis. Yeah, I see what you mean now. Travis Aarons wins the high limit mid money series race at 141. Obviously Cinderella story there. Put it to the big guys. Got humbled when he went to the World Outlaws race, but hell of performance there.
Yep.
lastly, the Fast 49, Jonathan Davenport wins his 4th and 3rd consecutive dirt late model dream.
All
Tire
right.
changer, cast your vote. I know where he's going.
I'm good. I'm gonna go with the homeboy. Give me Travis. Oh, he shrugged, so it's a predicament here now, huh?
He unfortunately falls to my number 2, but I gotta go with Davenport. To go on an event like that, just a clean house.
And I'm gonna double down. And I'm going to go Davenport as well. Uh, Solely out of the fact, third time classic, just beat down on the field, and it is. We touched on it is incredibly hard to win that race. One time to do it 3 times in a row. So many things have got to go right.
Hmm.
The power plant, you got to keep tires on it. There's just lap cars. So many things have to align to win that race once. Um, and then to do it his third time, third consecutive, and to do it in the fashion he did, 10+ second win. That is what you call a certified wheelman of the week.
All right, I got outvoted here.
Don't get me wrong, the Arn story is definitely too. That's true dodgeball story, true
Yep,
underdog.
He would be like the underdog story of the year.
that could be Cinderella of
Yeah,
the year.
for
Yep.
real. And
Yeah,
we
for
did
sure.
stay tuned to that because we did throw that around. We are at the end of 2025. Let's just break this news. The Three Stones Awards show. Um, Towards the end of the year, we're gonna give out some racing awards. So, kind of like the NASCAR banquet, it's gonna be the Three Stones banquet. Um,
We're gonna show up in those t-shirt tuxedos.
yep.
Yep, fits the budget.
Yep. Real quick here before we move on as well. Jonathan Davenport, second two-time winner of the Wheelman of the Week award.
Yep.
So, all right. Previous winners. We'll rattle these off here real quick. Anybody want to read them? You want me to do it?
Go ahead.
All right. USAC midgets. They're in their Indiana midget week. My Nature won 3 of those nights. But Kale Drake won at Circle City. And then where is he on the list? Jacob Denny won at Paragon. Like I said, My Nature won a handful of other nights. Um, they are currently racing as we speak here at Kokomo to round out Indiana Midget Week there. Um, Bobby Pierce won the Castrol Floor Racing Night in America race. Rico Abreu, as we mentioned, won at Red Cedar. Um, Carson Macedo won the World Outlaw race at Jackson Motorplex. Um, Lance Deweese won the All Star Circuit of Champs race. We talked about Josh Rice winning the first prelim night race. Brandon Butterbean Queen wins the Arc of Menards race at Michigan. Randy Sargent won the Big 8 late model race at Hawkeye Downs. Uh, Rico Abreu, as we said, mentioned, won at Plymouth for the World Outlaws. Ty Fredrickson wins the Alive for 5 race at Dells Raceway Park. Dominates that one. Danny Dietrich won the second All-Star Circuit of Champs race at Lincoln Speedway. Scott Gardner Jr. won the Mid-Am race in the Dells. Stuart Friesen breaks a long winning streak, wins the NASCAR truck race at Michigan. Brad Sweet won that Beaver Dam for the World Outlaws. And then obviously Hamlin won at the Michigan race. Moving on into race previews here. Cam, I will let you take this first one.
Yeah, our wheelman of the week is going to be back in action next week. Lucas Oil goes for a 2-night show at Smoky Mountain Friday and Saturday.
Honestly, that's the only dirt late model racing going on. Open wheel racing. First off, high limit will be at Eagle Speed or Eagle Raceway for the Eagle Nationals on Tuesday night. All-Star Circuit of Champs, they're going to be starting their Ohio Speed Week starting on Friday. First at Attica. Saturday, they're going to be at Sharon Speedway. And then Sunday, they'll be at Millstream Raceway. World Outlaws will get their first maybe second real tune-up uh, for Knoxville. They'll be running the Chevy Premier Dealers race on Friday and Saturday. IRI Sprint Cars are at Jacksonville on Friday. I-55 Speedway on Saturday. USAC Silver Crown will be at Worldwide Technology Raceway. And then a world special here that I'm going to throw out there. 24 Hours of Le Mans is this coming weekend as well.
Yep.
If I remember seeing right, 62 entries for the 24 hours.
Yep.
So
You'll be looking forward to that 24 hours straight.
if I could, but not a
No.
chance, especially with what I hope to plan to do this weekend, which Cam or Kellen will cover.
Yeah. So looking at the asphalt side of things, sticking around here with the first couple. Thursday night, WIR, Wisconsin International Raceway, has the red race for their red, white, and blue series. So should expect a good field of super late models for that race. ASA Stars National Tour, which we will be at on Friday in Madison. So they'll be at Madison Friday, and then they plan to jump over to Slinger on Sunday. So a doubleheader weekend for them as well. ARCA, they head to Berlin on Saturday night. The Cars Tour Pros and late model stocks are Saturday night at Dominion.
Rose is canceled.
Got it.
Saw that a couple weeks ago.
Okay. Late model stocks at Dominion. NASCAR Wheel Modifieds on Saturday head to Riverhead. The Tundra Super Late Models head to Marshfield on Saturday night for their Bev Ashburn Memorial. F1 heads to the Canadian Grand Prix. IndyCar is at Worldwide Tech, and then obviously the aforementioned, as we had talked about, Xfinity and Cup Series, they head to Mexico City. So,
Take a look at race picks here. I did do the math for how we came out of this one. Cam, 86 points to the good for him. I was at 65 points for the weekend, and Cal, you said at 46. So Cam has broke the 1,000 point barrier for a race pick so far this year. He's sitting at 1,009. Uh, I am sitting at 852, and Kellen, you're at 731. We've got some ground to make up, pal.
yeah, I don't know what to do anymore. Yeah.
What are you doing?
2 for 2 this weekend. I don't know if you looked at my previous winners last week for my
Yeah.
race picks. Picked old Davenport for the Dream and Denny Hamlin for Michigan.
Rough. So I get to pick first, I guess, for Mexico City.
Obviously, we've got no record book for this one, so
Yeah, that gives you the road course aces. So I will go back to my pick from 2 weeks ago and give me AJ Allmendinger.
I know
oh,
where Van Grohl's going.
you know where I'm going, huh?
Yeah,
I
this is the
don't
one
know where I'm
shot.
going,
This is your
honestly. You know
one
what?
shot.
Screw it. I am gonna go with it. Give me Shane Van Gisbergen. Screw you, man.
I knew he was picking Van Dizzy.
Screw you.
Well,
I was like, dude, this is your one shot for the entire year to pick this man for a win. And this is, oh, you never mind. Second shot is Chicago.
third would be Glenn, too.
What?
You got the Glenn, too.
Sonoma,
We
Roval.
got a lot of wild cards going up yet.
Screw you, man. Make your pick.
Yeah, get it
Anybody
together.
realize the common trend among those races? It's only a threat at road courses. Okay, I'm not gonna say he's a road course ace. But
Spit it out.
I'm just gonna, again, we built a lead like this. Let's just not mess anything up. I'm gonna go Christopher Bell.
All right.
Decent. Decent enough.
Okay. So we've got our picks made for Mexico City.
For sure, somebody is gonna go with the old homeboy, mi amigo, Daniel.
I'll go with a different foreigner. Thank you very much.
Yeah, they've been struggling too much.
So, all right. Any final thoughts, fellas, before we sign off here for the evening?
No, that's a tough weekend to beat in terms of racing.
Yeah.
So many good races. That's a tough one to follow up. So there's plenty of racing to watch and get to. If you want to watch or get to something, there's plenty happening, but that's a tough weekend to top.
Yep.
Yeah, I was gonna say that stretch there felt like number 2 behind Memorial Day weekend. In terms of just between the sprint car and dirt late models, just not enough TVs for the amount of good racing you had. So, fun weekend, a lot of storylines, good racing, and yeah, that was a fun weekend.
All right. As always, make sure to comment, like, subscribe on our YouTube or socials, everything like that. Be in the know as far as when we're releasing stuff out. visit your local short track. Can never stress that enough. Go see what's going on this weekend. Weather's getting warm. No excuse to not be at a racetrack this weekend. So, be on the lookout for our socials as stuff gets rolled out. We'll have our schedules posting going out, obviously, and then all of our other regular postings as well. But until then, we'll see you next week on next week's episode of Tuesday Track Talk.